another day, another Nintendo Switch 2 video, because that is just what the doctor ordered. We got to talk about a rumor about when we could potentially see Nintendo Switch 2. I say rumor because at this point, every week that Nintendo Switch 2 is not revealed, there is going to be a rumor that this is the week. So this is none other than the rumor for this week. And you know, maybe it is real because the source is kind of interesting in my opinion. And there are some implications about how this would happen, be given what else is going on in this next week, as well as Nintendo now responding to the Genki leaks. They were asked about it over in Japan, and very telling in my opinion what they said or what they didn't say. Really, it was a quick response, but it was a response nonetheless, and I think that they had an opportunity to do some things that they may not have done with the response that they chose, as well as some more Switch games that we could potentially see on Switch 2 from third-party developers, because we got some French retailers that are uploading games into their system, and somebody was able to kind of go in and match some numbers up to give us an idea of a couple games that we will most likely see, and nothing earth-shattering, but it's the fun part. I think that's the fun part, is what we want to see on the next Nintendo Switch. At this point, we know a lot about it with the motherboard, what it looks like, but we want to know the games. So today we are talking about all this on this wonderful Friday. So before we hop into all that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video so you guys are kept up to date with everything going on here at Trentendo. We are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy these types of updates, hit that subscribe button and let's just dive right in. Now, first things up, we got to talk about this response from Nintendo because I think it's the most exciting thing. So we're going to lead it off. And like I said, they have more in what they didn't say than what they said, I think. Now we're going to hop over to this. I'll throw this image up here for you guys so you can read through it together. We got this one little spot highlighted because this is really all that's important, I feel like, from what this article has to say. Now, this was machine translated. It was in Japanese originally from a publication known as, I'm going to butcher this probably, the Sanki Shimbun. I totally butchered that. Apologies to my Japanese friends, but this is what Nintendo and this publication had to say as far as they were asking Nintendo about these leaks at CES from these third-party manufacturers, because we know that this has been absolutely rampant in this last week. So Nintendo is not officially participating in this year's CES, which we knew that. In response to an interview with Sanki Shimbun, the company commented that, quote, "The images and videos are not official." Now, we have seen Nintendo go as far as to disprove or discredit rumors and leaks of the past. That didn't happen here. All they said was that it was not official. So does that mean that these are they're accurate images, they're accurate videos? This is what it's going to look like? This is what it's going to do? I think it might be. You know, I think at this point we have seen so much of it that Genki was not the first. You know, if this was the first video or the first image or the first things that we had seen, maybe we think, okay, maybe Genki's full of it. You know, maybe they're just trying to chase clout a little bit. They're trying to get ahead of the curve. Here's what we know. Here's what we think. But that wasn't the case. Genki was the last in the long line of people that had shown us stuff. So at that point, everything had kind of lined up. And, you know, when Genki showed it, it was like, okay, this lines up with what we've already seen and makes sense. So at that point, I would be more trusting of what Genki has shown. Now, I think Genki really stepped in it when they claimed that they had a black market Switch, which led them to probably being evicted from CES. Their booth is no longer there. It's vacated. You'd think that they would be there for the duration of the show. They are not. As of yesterday, you know, they're gone. So you'd have to think that they got a little bit too bold. They got a little bit too big for their britches. And now the Nintendo Ninjas saw what they were doing. And I probably, when they make a claim such as we got a black market Switch 2, there's probably some grounds there legally that they can take some action. Before that, though, they didn't have an NDA. Maybe they had an NDA, or they didn't have other, you know, probably legal documents that would preclude them from showing their devices. They're not an official Switch 2 accessory manufacturer. They make third-party products, you know, so they probably had a little bit of wiggle room there. But as soon as they said, you know, we obtained this on the black market, that probably gave Nintendo the grounds to take some action, which inevitably probably led them to being removed from the show. So that's Nintendo's response. Rather than striking it down and saying, you know, this is all fabricated, this is false, you know, this is not what we are doing with the next system, they just said it's not official. So take that with as you will. Again, I'm taking it a little bit more as they probably had some stuff right. They have probably the majority of it right, really. They were just showing the hardware. it's more than likely probably real in my opinion, but we have to wait for Nintendo to finally make that reveal, which is what is next on the docket. We've got Nintendeals throwing out there that they believe that this rumor, or this reveal rather, this rumor comes from them, this reveal will be next week. Now, they did not say what day. They have confirmed through a couple of different sources that even on Twitter, they responded and said, I don't know the particular day. They're just hinting that it is sometime in the next week. Now, as I said, there is some interesting implications being that it is the release week for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD on Nintendo Switch. Would Nintendo actually do this on the week of a release? Because that seems very interesting, because as soon as you do that, you lose all momentum and all hype for Donkey Kong Country Returns. Not to say that it's a very big game, really. It's a port of a Wii game. Is it that big? I don't know. Could you reveal something that week and not really make that big a difference? Honestly, probably. But is that how Nintendo's going to operate? You feel like they'd want to give Donkey Kong Country a week to breathe. Give it its own week. This week, we didn't even get... That's the other interesting thing you have to talk about. This week, we didn't even get Donkey Kong Country stuff. We got Xenoblade stuff this week. Are they really that worried about Donkey Kong? So that's actually one point in favor of maybe Nintendo doesn't care as much about Donkey Kong as we think. Maybe we're giving them a little bit too much credit for Donkey Kong. Maybe they don't mind giving us the Switch 2 reveal next week. I don't think... Now, what we got to talk about, too, as well, is I don't think that these Genki leaks, that all this stuff coming out, I don't think that changes Nintendo's timeline. If one thing we have learned from Nintendo at all is that they don't give two craps about what other people are doing. They're going to stick to their own timeline, and they're going to do what they were initially planning. So if this does get revealed next week, it's not because Genki forced their hand. It's because this is when Nintendo is going to do it. So we'll have to wait and see if this rumor comes to true fruition. But again, as I said, I think every week that this keeps going on, that we don't see a reveal, we're going to see something. But Nintendo, as I said, I feel like they've got, maybe they've got a little bit more stake in the game. They have some credibility on here. They throw out some stuff every now and then. Maybe they don't. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Next and last, as I said, we got to talk about these games that are coming up in French retailers about Nintendo Switch 2. Nothing earth-shattering, as I said, but it is interesting. They've got a ton of games. Developers mentioned like Bethesda, EA, Bandai Namco. So there's some thought that maybe we'll see maybe they do a port of Hogwarts Legacy 2 again. That game sold really well. It wasn't the greatest experience on the Switch. Maybe we see it on Switch 2. Maybe we see games like Elden Ring. That's that type of stuff. With the idea that this is going to be PS4 level graphics, it's going to be as strong as that. We're going to see a lot of these third-party games make their way over to Nintendo Switch 2, even if they are older games we didn't see. We saw it with Skyrim. We never saw Skyrim on a Switch console or on a Nintendo console back in the day. You bring it to Switch though, you continue to sell it. So maybe we see some stuff like that. But the games in particular that have been matched up and are basically confirmed at this point because of how they had used their EAN numbers, things like that. We've got Tekken 8, the fighting game. We got FIFA or EA Sports FC. I would imagine this would be the next iteration, the 26, because why would they bring 25 and then release 26 like a couple months later, depending on when this game or when the console releases? I would imagine it's probably just going to be the next one. And then we've also got Red Dead Redemption 2, most likely. Now, there is some speculation that it could be Red Dead 1, but with that already being on Nintendo Switch, most people are kind of speculating that this will be Red Dead 2. So again, we got a couple of those games. Those are pretty fun games. Like Red Dead is a fun game. It's a big game. Many people think that it is the best game of all time. So get that on Nintendo console will be exciting. And as I said, we've got a ton of other developers out there that looks like they're already lined up to bring their games to Nintendo Switch 2, which is super exciting. So at this point in the video, though, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. What do you guys think about all this? From the games that we could potentially see on Switch 2 to Nintendo responding and what they said or what they didn't say, reading between the lines. What do you guys think about that? As well as, yet again, another rumor, as I said, a rumor about when we could see Nintendo Switch 2, and maybe next week being the week, even with Donkey Kong Country on the horizon. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below on all of that. Again, hit that subscribe button and like this video so you guys are kept up to date with everything going on here at Trendtendo. We are trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and enjoy this ride as we get closer and closer to Nintendo Switch 2. So hope you guys enjoyed. Looking forward to that conversation going with you down below, and until next time, catch you later.